What's going on, everyone? Harris Rubenstein here for College Football Now, breaking down a whole off-season's worth of Ohio State news and rumors. And as we leave the cold, dark month of February, you know what that means. Spring practice is right around the corner. We got our schedule for you guys right here. First practice, March 4th. You'll get to see your Ohio State Buckeyes back on the field, at least until March 11th, until the kids go off and hopefully keep things safe during spring break, unlike what I did. And then the spring game, April 13th, we get to see Justin Fields in an Ohio State uniform for the first time. But also, the spring game might bring us a little bit of light as to a couple key position battles for Ohio State. Right tackle, outside linebacker, defensive tackle, all positions that Ohio State are looking to fill, both starting and behind the scenes as well. So we'll get to those battles a little bit later, just a couple of notes before we move on here. Let's go back to the spring game. Saturday, April 13th at noon. Like I said before, will be Justin Fields' first time in an Ohio State uniform. It is expected that he will end up winning the starting job, but he has to actually win the job first, being a transfer from Georgia. Tickets are out now, came out a couple weeks ago, only $5 for general admission. A good time if you're looking to spend a little bit of time with your family in the middle of April. But before we move on, I want to know from you guys, will the Buckeyes make the college football playoff in 2019? Let me know in the comment sections below. The answer is obviously yes, but don't tell anyone that, especially the Michigan fans out there. I'm sure we'll see Ohio State back in the college football playoff this year. Let's talk about the linebacker spot for Ohio State. Malik Harrison leading the way from that outside linebacker position. He will be your starting will linebacker. But the other big questions are at the two other spots. A, the Sam linebacker spot or the middle linebacker spot, or the Sam linebacker. And as of right now, both of them have huge holes. Will Browning end up starting at middle linebacker? Will it be Tough Borland? How about at the Sam linebacker spot? What about Pete Werner? There are a lot of different players that could fit at different positions. Malik Harrison could also slide into the middle. A lot of different things that Ohio State could end up doing with this linebacker core. The one thing that it is not lacking is talent. This Ohio State linebacker core, no matter how it ends up turning out, will end up being one of the better units in the Big Ten. Should be pretty exciting to see what this Ohio State defense is going to do. Another big addition to this linebacker core is a new linebackers coach. Al Washington joins after coaching the linebackers at Michigan in 2018. And I know we're Ohio State here, but even we have to give a little bit of consideration to the job that Al Washington did at Michigan. Helped turn Devin Bush into a first-round prospect in the NFL draft. I think he's going to do the same for Malik Harrison. He's going to do wonders for this defensive unit. He's a great coach. Again, coach for Michigan, so you get two things with Al Washington. A, you get a fantastic coach, and B, you also get to hurt the Wolverines. So a double win for Ohio State this offseason, being able to bring in Al Washington. I can't wait to see what he does with Malik Harrison. Let's talk about Jonah Jackson, the new grad transfer for Ohio State, coming over from Rutgers. Started 11 games last year for them as a redshirt junior, was also given the honor as a Rutgers team captain, earned honorable mention as an all-Big Ten offensive lineman. Now, I'm unsure if he's going to end up starting for Ohio State. He probably is going to end up just being some very needed depth on the offensive line for Ohio State. But he's a very good offensive lineman to have if you're Ohio State looking for depth at multiple positions. He's a versatile offensive lineman, can play different spots along the offensive line. He's really just going to be a good injury replacement for them. But again, he could still have a great spring practice and win a starting job right out of the spring. Now, the Ohio State offensive line has a lot of open spots and a lot of talent to fill those spots, but spots to fill nonetheless. So we gave you a little bit of a projected offensive line depth chart here. Obviously, this says a lot to change, but this is what we predict the Ohio State offensive line will end up being. We think that Thayer Munford, is going to end up winning the job at left tackle. Brandon Bowen, the senior, going in at left guard. Josh Myers, we think that he'll win the center job as well. Wyatt Davis at right guard, and then Joshua Alabi at right tackle. Now, there's a lot of different names who could end up taking these spots anyway. Nicholas Petit-Frere, or NPF, as I've started to call him, is a guy at left tackle, one of the best recruits that Ohio State got out of last year's class. I don't know if he's going to win a starting job right out of spring, but he's definitely a threat to win that left tackle job. The talent is certainly there. It's just whether or not the coaches are going to trust him in order to put him as their starting left tackle. Brandon Bowen, I know he isn't a natural left guard. He usually plays on the right side, but I think that Ohio State is going to try to get as much experience as they can on that offensive line while they are bringing in and adapting a new quarterback to their system. So offensive line is obviously as important as just about any position on the field in college football. So I don't know from you guys. Will the Buckeyes beat Michigan in 2019? Give me a Y for yes, give me an N for no. Another really easy question. Is Jim Harbaugh still the coach of Michigan? If the answer is yes, then the Buckeyes will beat Michigan in 2019. It's that simple. So go ahead, throw your Ys. Obviously, the Buckeyes are going to beat Michigan this year. And while you're at it, let me know what you guys think the score is going to be of that game this year. If this is your first time here with us at Chat Sports on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that little red subscribe button right at the bottom right of your screen. We'll have all the best college football content anywhere on the internet, including NFL draft content for all of you draft nuts out there. Let's talk about Justin Fields and maybe winning the Heisman this year. So the 2019 Heisman odds have been released. Obviously, the number one guy is Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback from Alabama. An easy favorite just to start the year. Trevor Lawrence there at number 2, the quarterback for Clemson. But here's the big surprise. Tied for third is Justin Fields. What a surprise. I never would have thought that he would have been this high for 2019 Heisman odds. Maybe people buying into the hype, maybe a little bit too much, but the talent is certainly there. And just remember, the last two quarterbacks, or last two Heisman winners in general, have both been transfer quarterbacks. So something to keep an eye on. Obviously, Jalen Hurts also falls into that category. I think we can all kind of take a step back here and laugh at the Adrian Martinez 6-1 Heisman odds. I don't even know why that's on there. I think that's absolutely hilarious. But hey, you got to be nice to Nebraska at some point. On to the second list here, into the 30-1s and 40-1s. Jonathan Taylor with Wisconsin, Justin Herbert from Oregon, Jerry Jeudy, one of the only non-quarterbacks we have on this list, the only wide receiver in the top 10, and then Jake Fromm and Sam Ehlinger, among others, at that 40-1 Heisman odds spot. So this Justin Fields, he is incredibly high, 6-1 odds to win the Heisman Trophy. He was pretty good last year for Georgia when he actually got to play. I don't know if they really used him correctly. They kind of threw him in a very disjointed fashion instead of allowing him to have a more natural fit in their offense. There's a reason he left. He thought he was going to be able to beat out Jake Fromm for that quarterback job, and it just did not turn out that way. But now, Fields, one of the best recruits to come out of high school, the quarterback spot in a long, long time, along with the likes of Trevor Lawrence. Now we get to see him get the first crack at a D1 big-time football program. I can't wait to see what he's going to do as hopefully the new starting quarterback of Ohio State. And he's got some massive shoes to fill with DWAYNE Haskins leaving for the NFL draft. An incredible season last year for Haskins, breaking the touchdown record, all-time touchdown record in the Big Ten for a single season. 50 touchdowns for Haskins, beating the old Drew Brees number there. But if you remember from 2018, our Heisman top 5, obviously Kyler ended up winning with Tua coming in second. Haskins did end up getting that third spot. A lot of arguments that maybe he should have ended up higher than Tua based off the strength of their schedule and Haskins' significant statistical advantage over Tagovailoa, but we'll give the SEC their little voting. And then Will Greer there at 4, followed by Gardner Minshew, the mustache man from Washington State. If you guys want to make some easy money this year on college football, there's only one place to do it, and that's with our sportsbook partner, BetDSI. Head to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. You can put down money on really anything, whether you think Ohio State's going to win the college football playoff. You can even put money down on where you think Ohio State players are going to get drafted this year. So again, chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code LIVE120. Let's talk a little bit about recruiting and how some Ohio State fans are a little bit worried about Ryan Day when it comes to recruiting. So as of right now, looking ahead to the 2020 recruiting classes, Ohio State not in the top 5, but they are in the top 10, unlike 2019. They come in at number 6 with 6 commits so far, including the great feather in their cap, one of the top recruits that they have coming in next year. 3 players in the top 100 already. Paris Johnson Jr., the offensive tackle, the number 4 player in the country, is their top recruit right now. He has already committed. Obviously, there's a lot of time until we get official commitments, but as of right now, the feather in the cap, as I like to call it, is Paris Johnson Jr. for this Ohio State recruiting class. Now, I understand that the 2019 class for Ohio State did fall out of the top 10, whether it was for the size of the class or maybe the quality. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. The point is this. If Ohio State is already in the top 10 for 2020 recruiting classes, that tells me that the high schoolers that are coming out next year believe that Ryan Day is going to do just fine as the new head coach of Ohio State. Maybe the 2019 class was slightly down because Urban left, but at the end of the day, you look at the actual quality of the prospects that they're bringing in this year, they didn't actually lose anything. So maybe next year, Ohio State will get both the quality and the quantity, whereas this year, they really did only get the quality. But from a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in Ryan Day as the head coach of Ohio State football? Me personally, I'm going to throw up an 8. I wouldn't quite give him 9 yet because obviously it's a whole different universe being the head coach for a full season versus a couple of games. I think he's going to do great. I think a lot of the times in college football, guys like Ryan Day really do succeed. They're great with players. They have their own individual offensive concepts, and usually what guys like Ryan Day are able to do is mix and match players and use their versatility to his advantage. So much speed on this Ohio State roster this year, and now they have speed at the quarterback spot again. It's going to be nuts what Ryan Day and this Buckeyes offense is going to be able to pull off this year. Let's talk about one of those 2020 recruits. Now, Bryan Bresee was originally he was heavily leaning towards Ohio State under Urban Meyer. Here's the only problem. Urban Meyer is no longer here, and now it seems that Bresee is now leaning towards Clemson, and insiders now believe he will go to either Clemson or Georgia. I wouldn't give this report too much credence quite yet. Why? Well, if he's leaning away from Ohio State now because Urban Meyer isn't there, what happens if Ryan Day leads Ohio State to the college football championship? If he leads them to a championship, then there really is no worry about the transition from Urban Meyer to Ryan Day. And if something like that happens, I think you could see a lot of top recruits who might have been shifting away from the Buckeyes shift right back. Clemson and Georgia are two great programs, no doubt about it. But if you're a defensive tackle, you're looking to actually make an impact on college football, I wonder if you'd rather go to the Big Ten over Clemson or Georgia, where you might end up getting swallowed up by the 15 million defensive prospects that they bring in every single year. And hey, I'm from Maryland. I know all about Damascus High School. They have a lot of great connections to Ohio State. So while this initial report might not be too inspiring, I wouldn't give it too much yet. We still have a long way to go until recruits officially start committing.